Let's draw a realistic portrait pen drawing while we chat about mindsets and tips that you might find helpful in actually improving your art, which I wish I knew before I started my art journey. Because it's true, you're not lazy, just overwhelmed. If you're just starting out with your art, I'd suggest beginning by choosing your niche. Art is very broad, so choose where you want to focus. If you're more of an intermediate artist and already know what you like to draw and just want some more tips on how to improve, I think what I'm about to say is relevant to you as well. I chose portraiture because I always knew that I was drawn to drawing faces. Once you choose your subject, start drawing. Just start and try your best without watching any tutorials beforehand. This way, when you're done your first art piece, you'll be able to clearly see what you're struggling with and then look up specific tutorials that are relevant to you. By doing this, you are giving yourself a starting point and making the journey of teaching yourself to draw less overwhelming. And this applies regardless of your level in art. At this point in the drawing process, I was really struggling with the mother's face, so what I did was squint my eyes and draw the form of the shapes that the shadows were making on her face. If you want to see growth with your art, challenge yourself and explore regardless of the results. Growth isn't linear, but as long as you are generally going at an upwards trend, you have nothing to worry about. And I know you are in an upwards trend right now, because the more you do something, the faster your brain catches on and learns. If you're thinking of giving something a try, and you immediately tell yourself that you aren't ready or aren't good enough to do it, give it a try anyways. And if it doesn't work out, what's the big deal? You'll just end up learning what you need to improve on to reach that level later. Several months ago, I attempted to draw figures for the first time. I'll link that video below. This is my second attempt, and to my surprise, this time around, I found it way easier, even though all this time I was training to draw portraits. This goes to show that by practicing something, we are developing other unrelated parts of our brain unknowingly as well. The human body is so complex, and the proportions are so precise that I find it harder for me to get it just right while still enjoying the process. And I'm more used to and comfortable with drawing close-up portraits. But when I saw this reference photo on Pinterest, I knew that I wanted to draw it. The composition of the mother and the daughter really drew me in, and I really like that their position, if you take a step back, sort of forms a triangle. One of the most common compositions favored in paintings and photography is the triangle, and this photograph is a great example of it. I also really like the contrast of dark and light and the forms of the shadows, which gives you a lot to work with as an artist. When choosing a reference photo, it's important to pick one with a nice variation of light and shadow on the subject. This will make your drawings convey the illusion of form better. Also note that if you initially don't like the reference photo, then you most likely won't like your art piece either, if you choose to use that photo. If you are interested, I will leave a link from Pinterest to the reference photo that I used for this drawing in the description, and a link to my Pinterest page where I've collected other reference photos in a similar style that you might like. At this point in the drawing process, I am being mindful of the direction of my pen strokes. For example, with this skirt, I am first drawing out the shapes of the folds in the fabric, and then curving my strokes inwards to give the illusion that the skirt is three-dimensional. I was also scared that I made the girl's arm and hand a bit too dark, but when I draw in the background later, you'll see how it starts to make sense. When you draw on a white background, it may appear that you have drawn in the shadows too dark, but they just look that way against the pure white. And vice versa, you may think that you shaded your drawing in perfectly, but when you draw in the background, the shadows are now too light. When starting something new like art, or simply changing direction in your art style or art process, I'd suggest not sharing it with anyone for some time. For me, my time frame is around 3 months, although you can choose whatever feels right for you. Waiting to tell people gives you the freedom to make all the mistakes without judgment. Remember this though, if you want something to happen, take action. It might feel uncomfortable or you might feel embarrassed, but if it's something you really want, you know that you'll regret not trying it later. Give it a shot. Also, no one is born with skill. Just as it takes years for a bodybuilder to build muscles, it will also take you years to grow in your drawing and painting skills. That's okay and normal. I think in general, it takes about 3 years to get truly comfortable in a new place, with a new skill, with a new job, and with new people. What about you? How long would you say it takes for you to get comfortable in a new environment? As you can see, at this point in the drawing process, I'm drawing in the background. I slowly added in a base layer of these strokes around the two figures to sort of naturally make your eye be drawn to them when you look at the finished piece. Notice how the strokes that I use around the figures and the strokes that I use to block in the background are flowing in different directions. I'm doing this to make the end result look more clean, while still giving the illusion of depth and overlapping in an interesting way. Give yourself time. If you're feeling discouraged about your art progress, it's possible it's because you haven't given yourself enough time. Because ordinary effort, if consistent, over time yields extraordinary results. I think to truly get better at art, you need to make enough of it relatively consistently. Implement it into your routine. You don't have to make art daily. What I do is make art every other week. I'm really not strict with myself on what days and what time I make art. Usually, it takes me several hours a day over the course of 3 to 4 days to complete an art piece. I give myself 1 week to draw or paint, and then the next week I recharge and edit the footage. Because, to be honest, making art is an emotional process that can become exhausting, so let yourself recharge. Maintaining a balance between actively making art and resting is important in preserving your creativity and not burning out. Make time for other things that you love, and a lot of the time, you'll find inspiration for your art in unexpected places. I think it's also important to find which activities help you recharge. Personally, I really enjoy reading. I'm currently in the middle of Les Miserables, or Les Miserables, and if you know French and I'm pronouncing it wrong, I'm really sorry. I think my current fascination with drawing people from the past might come from me reading books like this. Recently, there have been a lot of new subscribers to this channel, and I'd like to say thank you and welcome. And to all of you here, thank you so much for believing in me. I love reading all your comments and really appreciate all the kind words and support. Thank you. Remember, getting better at art is all about the journey. If anything in this video was helpful and speaks to you, please leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you for watching.